welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. It is November 7th, and here are all the dates that really rate. 1920, Elaine Morgan was born, who was a scientist? I'm sure there's a specific term of her subsect of study that I don't know what it is, but it's all about evolution. And many years ago, there was this really great space called the Observatory Room, run by Joanna Ebenstein and Pam Grossman. And forgive me if I don't remember all the ins and outs specifically, but eventually Letty's involved. There's a whole bunch of other people involved. It became like a real call to action of people interested in the strange and the unusual here in New York City. Observatory Room, then, which was at Proteus Gowanus, this art/library space right off the Gowanus Canal in New York City. And it got too big, so they moved it to the Morbid Anatomy Museum, became its own thing, which then had a couple more iterations, blah, 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 blah. It's all really great stuff, and every day you could see classes on how to do anthropomorphic taxidermy, or hear somebody talk about Nazi lampshades, or aliens, or female movers and shakers involved with the pre-Aleister Crowley Order of the Golden Dawn. Every day was something different, right? So one day they had this thing on the aquatic ape theory, which I don't know if the guy who was talking even had like a book to sell. I feel like this is just something he was interested in, and so he was just talking about it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does have a book, and I stupidly don't have his name off the top of my head, but he talked about the aquatic ape theory, which was a concept put forward by Elaine Morgan, who was born today in 1920, who was a scientist at a time when there were basically no females in her field. And he presented this argument, for one, what she was proposing, and for two, how the environment in the mid-20th century just completely dismissed her concepts strictly on the grounds of her being a woman. How could she possibly know what she's talking about and or be upending traditional beliefs on how evolution happens, right? The overall idea was that in Africa, I guess millions of years ago, humans, or our ancestors would have spent a significant amount of time in their lives wading in water, and that's why we have blubber like whales. Is it whales? I don't know. And most other animals, all other animals don't. That would be why babies could like immediately have some sense of being able to swim to a degree, I guess. There was a bunch more. It was a really, as a layman, it was a very convincing argument. And then paired with a whole bunch of mid-20th century rebuttals, which were all basically just like, what does this woman know? This woman, what does she know what she's talking about? And it took decades for this to be something that was then viewed as a strong possibility, or even something viewed as like, let's consider it, just on like, because it was dismissed for decades because she was a woman, or so it would appear, which I buy in this presentation. And she's this, by the time there's like the clips I saw of her, she's like this little old lady, like, in the 1990s or turn of the century or something like that, 2000, who's adorable, and yet like so sharp and biting, and I whatever she's buying, I'm selling. Elaine Morgan, super cool. Yeah. So that was fun. And the Morbid Anatomy Museum continues on to this day. There was a point they were in Greenwood Cemetery, and now they have a new space. Industry City? I think that's the name of that area. Like, just west of 36th Street. Subway stop in Brooklyn. It's nice. Check it out if you can. Meanwhile, also in this day, 1945, the film Detour premiered, which is a low-budget Edgar G. Ulmer film noir. Great stuff. I really enjoy it. Really twisted. Great performances by all. 1958, today, Alice Bagg was born. So, you know, it's a good day to read her book, Violence Girl, should you have it available to you. Obviously, the singer, The Bag. She's also in Castration Squad, for those that haven't heard of or seen anything on Castration Squad. They certainly make the cut. They're great. They're to me the like true unsung or unrecorded lost masterpiece of a band from the West Coast. I know people say that about maybe Crime or the Screamers, but Castration Squad, this is like proto 45 Grave super group with all sorts of just wonderful musicians from the LA punk scene. Yeah, songs about like screwing JFK's corpse and stuff. I mean, it's worth a listen. Yeah. What else? Oh, and today, in 1980, was the day that both the Meteors and the Polecats attended the Scala Theater to see a screening of the film Teenagers from Outer Space, which in turn inspired them both to write their songs about the movie. Teenagers from Outer Space for the Meteors, and what's the Polecats one? Juvenile Delinquents from a planet named Mars. Yeah. Anyway, great stuff. And this is super fun to think that, like, at the time, you couldn't easily find this, you know, movies, culture, oddball stuff was few and far between. So everybody would pile in to see and experience what they could when they could. It wasn't the world we live in today where everything is at your fingertips. Fun to think about. Anyway, that's it. November 7th, all day, from me to you. Till tomorrow.